I'm going to preview the number 18 Baylor at number 10 BYU women's volleyball match. BYU on the season is 12-1, but they have 2 ranked wins in Pitt as a neutral site, 3-1. They also defeated Houston 3-9 last night, and they did lose to Washington State, but that was at Washington State, 3-1. So everybody else for them is unranked, and this is their second conference match, part of the Big 12 for them, and the second one at home for them because they played Houston last night at home. While Baylor is 6-4 on the season, but they did lose to Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Washington State, 3 top 11 opponents at the time, and even currently when you look at the for sure. I'm going to just double check that right now first before saying it, but I will say their loss to SMU was the one that was really close, 3-2. They just committed way too many errors. Yeah, and Minnesota is a top 12. I mean, so all their 3 of the 4 losses are just to top 12 opponents. So it's not like they're bad losses. It's the SMU one that was a little iffy at the time. So just to let you know about that, and Baylor 6-4, and they're coming off of a 3-0 win against Stephen Falston, and they're an NCAA tournament team. Don't get me wrong, they're a good team. They beat some Power 5s. Stephen Falston did, so yeah. Now, what are some players to keep an eye on for BYU? Obviously, I would say Kate Pryor, number 1, and she is a 6'4" opposite hitter / middle blocker. That's a sophomore. So yeah, that's a 73 kills on 166 attempts with 34 attacking errors, 2 assists on the year. And I will put the stats in the description below, but I will say on the stats, you have to go back and forth on offensive and defensive, since they don't have a PDF of that at all. So 12 digs, 35 blocks, 3 of those are solo blocks, by the way, 1 blocking error. Obviously, I'm going to just say the next player to keep an eye on is Hannah Billeter, Billeter, Billeter. I apologize if I butchered that name. She's a 5'11" libero. That's a sophomore, so and like no kills on the season on 2 total attempts, 7 assists, 22 service aces, 17 service errors. But 22 service aces is a bunch to keep an eye on for sure. 42 digs, 5 receiving errors. That's it. Now, I would say the next player to keep an eye on is Whitney Bauer, but I will say she is dangerous as a setter. Number 7, 5'9" setter. That's a senior. She could literally have 6 kills on the match anytime she wants. So, and she's a lefty from what I heard. I mean, 57 kills on 111 attempts with 11 attacking errors, 378 assists, 19 service aces, 22 service errors. So by that alone, that's a notable thing. And defensively, 106 digs, 37 blocks, 3 of those are solo, and 3 blocking errors and 10 ball handling errors. So wow. I would say the next player to keep on is Erin Livingston, number 10. And she's a 6'2" outside hitter. That's a senior. and she actually led the team in kills last night. And she leads the team in kills this year as well. I mean, overall this year. 172 kills on 421 attempts with 57 errors. I mean, and 3 assists, 10 service aces, 13 service errors. I mean, 19 service errors. I apologize. 55 digs, 7 receiving errors, 26 blocks. One of those are just solo. So, yeah, that's notable. I would say Claire Little, number 12, is another player to keep an eye on for BYU. A 6'3" outside hitter, that's a freshman. 63 kills on 193 attempts with 28 attacking errors, 3 assists, 4 service errors. 46 digs, 8 receiving errors, which is the most on the team. 12 blocks, 2 of those are solo, and that's it. Now, Mia Lee, I would say, is the next player to keep an eye on here. A 6-foot middle blocker / opposite hitter, that's a freshman. .45 kills on 111 attempts with 15 attacking errors. 2 assists, 3 service aces, 10 service errors. At 13 as well. Four digs on the season. 58 blocks, but 8 of those are solo and 2 blocking errors on the season. Now, the next player, I would say, Area McCumber, number 14. She's a 5'6" libero. That's a grad senior. And it's like, she doesn't have any kills or anything. 21 assists, 5 service aces, 9 service errors. But 69 digs and 6 receiving errors. That's it. I'm only going to mention this Elise Stowell just in case, number 15. 6'2" outside hitter, that's a junior. And I know she only has 37 kills on 87 10s and tendos or attacking errors. She doesn't do any serving. 7 digs, 2 receiving errors, 12 blocks on the year. All those are assisted, by the way, in blind blocking errors. So, yeah. Now, for sure, the next player to keep an eye on is Kamile, or Kamaile. I apologize if I butchered that name. Hiapo, Hiapo. I apologize in advance. And 5'6" libero, that's a grad senior. One kill on 5 attempts this year, but 72 assists, which is second most on the team. 9 service aces, 6 service errors. 149 digs, which is the most on the team. 6 receiving errors. That's it. And the very last player I'm going to mention is Whitney McEwan. Yanar, no, yeah, yeah, Renas, double Larenas. I apologize again. Some of these names can be a little bit difficult sometimes. 6'3" middle blocker. That's a grad senior. 86 kills on 185 attempts, 21 attacking errors, 6 assists, 3 service aces, 9 service errors. $16 digs, 1 receiving error, but 54 blocks, and 3 of those are solo and 3 blocking errors. And I might as well go back and mention one other player, at least Alyssa Erickson, number 9, just to go back because of the service numbers, and that's 6'1" outside hitter. That's a junior. No kills on 1 attempt. No kills on 1 attempt this year, but 2 service aces, 7 service errors. Offensively, and not defensively, 3 digs, and that's it. I only mentioned it because of the service stuff. So, and I get for Baylor, you might be a little bit nervous in the match, but for those new players, and of course there's all those first Big 12 game nerves for everybody, but some of those players were already there before, so you just gotta ask for advice to deal with the nerves, and of course try to relax a little bit too. I mean, and I get this is on the road, and it's never ideal to start the conference play on the road, but you gotta stay tough mentally and physically. I mean, and you can't be just look at the other jerseys like, oh no, we're gonna play bad. It's like, nope, that's not the case, and I know Ryan McGuire would not want that to happen anyway. So, and this is in altitude, so you're gonna have to get ready for a little bit of that altitude thing, because I think that's kind of what happened to Houston last night, to be honest. And when, of course, you have to look at the film and see what the strengths and weaknesses are, and as you can tell, there's not a lot of weaknesses. There's not a lot of them. So, but I would say this: Baylor's more battle tested at this point than BYU is. I mean, no offense to BYU, it's just look at all those teams Baylor's played. They faced 5 ranked opponents. BYU, just 3. But it's besides the point in all this. And I will say you have to, across the board, you got to limit the errors as much as possible, especially those attacking errors. I mean, the truth is, you played a really clean match against Stephen F. Austin. Now, you know it's Stephen F. Austin, but you get the point here. I mean, you only had 80 attacking errors. I mean, and you only had like 6 service errors and 1 receiving error all match, and 4 blocking errors and 1 ball handling error. So a total of, okay, that's 8, 14, 15, 19, 20 errors in total, which is a pretty good number. Of course, you gotta have good passing as well, and you don't want to do like quick and low passes against BYU from what I saw last night. And I watched part of that BYU versus Houston match on ESPN2 because I just want to see what they said about them and everything, and watch them a little bit. BYU is a gritty team. They're full of grit, and they're tough. I mean, I would also say you gotta limit their blocks. Of course, you want to give some blocks on your end, and you don't want to have overpasses to give them a chance to put it away easy. And of course, if they do that to you, you gotta convert. And of course, I would also say that you need to dig every ball as much as possible and out hustle them and try to outlast them at some points, because sometimes it might come down to that. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. Of course, on the side out, you don't want BYU to dominate on the side out. That's kind of what happened. to be honest, against Houston, by the way, I really believe that was a big problem for Houston last night. I really, really do. And if you have a quick lead, have a lead, keep it. Don't let them climb back in it. Obviously, if you're trailing, you want to come back in each set as much as possible. And now we'll try to exploit the weaknesses of BYU as much as possible. Of course, you want to take away their strengths, because it's the truth. And don't let that crowd get to you at all. This is very similar, I would think, to Texas. And some of those players already experienced Texas before. So, of course, you got to really do well on the side out, like I said, and don't let BYU dominate in that area necessarily. And don't allow big scoring runs. Of course, you got to make adjustments on the fly, because I know BYU will make adjustments potentially, and we have play with your hair on fire for this match, because look, not a lot of people are expecting Baylor to come in there and beat them or push them, let alone beat them. I'm telling the truth, and the pressure's on BYU for this. They're at home. I'm telling the truth and all that. I would also say you gotta mix it up offensively as well, because you don't want BYU just to predict everything. That's kind of what Houston did at times last night. So, of course, and I know Houston could have easily made that match last night into 4 sets if they would have got that set point. That match would have just flipped on its head, and they committed a lot of errors at the end of the first set that kind of haunt them in that match. They had quick leads in the first and second sets, but they went away. Obviously, the second set they just got dominated, and the score for that second set was not even close. 25-13. Yeah, they were up. Houston was. And just BYU just ran off and got like 13 points in a row. And of course, you want to serve well, too. Of course, you got to be careful and try to not do it too much power. But I also say you don't want to be too conservative, just barely get the ball in. And of course, obviously, you don't want to hit the ball to the net. That's obvious. And I know that Baylor is going to come out ready to try to fight hard in this match. And it's important to know that this is what the environment is like in the beginning. Just don't let that environment overwhelm you at all. Oh no. Because you faced some tough environments before. You played Minnesota at Minnesota, Wisconsin as a neutral site, even Colorado State at Colorado State. You're used to it, and you even played Texas at Texas last year for some of those players that are returning. So this is very similar, I would say, to Texas environment, maybe a little bit harder, more intimidating. So I'm just telling the truth. You got to play. You got to play clean as possible, because it would really help if you do that. Obviously, limit your errors across the board, and try to make BYU make mistakes. That's the truth. And obviously, if they do some, you don't want to give free balls back and forth. Back to BYU, because they might take advantage of it. But if that happens to you, you got to take advantage right away. And of course, you want to mix it up offensively, so that, like I said before, you don't want BYU to predict everything. and be prepared for their setter with all those assists on the season to go for kills. I would say that. I heard their announcer last night. I mean, like the guy announcer last night say that setter could go off for 6 kills anytime she wants. I'm telling the truth. So that's just some of the factors in there. And of course, you gotta stay calm and play like not just point to point, but contact to contact as well. Of course, you got to receive well too. I mean, it would really help, and of course, you want to limit the service aces for BYU, and obviously, if the service errors numbers go up, that's fine. Like whether it's long or hit the net, but I'm just saying, don't. And of course, you don't want to give BYU any free points with errors alone, because that could really hurt you. That's kind of what hurt Houston last night, to be honest. And I'm sure Ryan McGuire and staff are looking at that and try to see what BYU does. So you gotta get used to it. And of course, you gotta limit those best players as much as possible in terms of a kill or anything. But be prepared for the setter to go for kills. You gotta dig every ball. I mean, and you gotta play solid defense and solid offense and solid serving across the board. So, anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe, and see you guys later. 500 subscribers, we're on the road to it. Let's go. 600 subscribers, we're on the road to it. Let's go. And yes, I'm saying 600 because I'm right at 500 even again. So, just an FYI on that.